Welcome everyone to Legal Aid Chicago's first virtual event. Many of you know that in June of every year we have an event at the Palmer House with more than 800 people packed into the dining room there for a luncheon where we honor our annual Champion of Justice. This year we of course couldn't do that due to the pandemic, so we've replaced that this year with our virtual event. This is the first time for me that I've been in a suit since before March 15th. So apologies for the dust that you see accumulating on my sleeves. Apologies in advance for that. Special thanks to my wife Jean for the kitchen haircuts she's given me each of the last 8 months. I think it looks pretty good with this great head of hair that I have. And normally at this time, as probably for a lot of you, at this time of the evening, what I'm doing is my wife and I are in our pajamas and slippers, getting ready to spend our evening with our friends Anderson Cooper and Rachel Maddow. So I'm looking forward to sharing with you tonight, we're looking forward to sharing with you tonight, what we at Legal Aid Chicago do and why it's important. Unfortunately, though, there are people who are important to us who are not watching tonight and cannot be with us tonight. There's the survivor of domestic violence who's sheltering in place tonight with her abuser. She's trapped and she's uncertain of how and what she can do to find safety, sheltered in place with the person who is her biggest fear. There's the migrant farm worker who has come up from Texas and been in the Midwest since March. He's gone from state to state. He started with winter wheat in Iowa, and he just finished in November with pumpkins in Princeville, Illinois. He's on a bus headed back to Texas, wondering how is he going to get paid for the work that he's done since March, but which his employer has not paid him. There's a single mother who has been locked out with her children from her apartment, even though there is an eviction moratorium. And there is the families with parents who have both unemployed, been laid off, but have not received their unemployment benefits to which they're entitled. And the odds are that in the case of all these people I've just described, that 75% of them or more are black or brown people because they're citizens who have faced a lifetime of inequitable treatment. We're here tonight for them and the thousands like them who have suffered disproportionately due to the effects of the pandemic. So our goal tonight will be to talk about them and to talk about the issues that they're all facing. If you're inspired tonight at any point in time by anything we say or do, go to our website and press the donate button, legalaidchicago.org, hit donate and pull out your credit card. We would appreciate it. Now, I'd like to introduce our governor, J.B. Pritzker, who is a big fan of civil legal aid and a big fan of ours, and so we're grateful to him for sharing with you his thoughts.
Good evening. This is Governor J.B. Pritzker, and it is my pleasure to join you for Legal Aid Chicago's holiday virtual event. For more than 50 years, you've made equal justice a reality for tens of thousands of people across Cook County. By providing free professional legal services to those who need it most, your impact is profound and indispensable. Many of your clients have nowhere else to turn for help. The need for accessible legal services is urgent and growing as a result of the pandemic. These are our neighbors, and because of you, their lives have changed for the better. On behalf of the people of Illinois, I want to thank you for taking on the important work of making our system of justice accessible to all. Your dedication and your generosity have improved the lives of so many. And to all who are joining us tonight, let me express my gratitude for supporting such a terrific organization. Now more than ever, Legal Aid Chicago needs your help so that it can continue providing affordable legal services to those most in need. I wish you all a safe, joyous holiday and good health in the new year.
Good evening. My name is Kate Shank, and I'm the Deputy Director of Legal Aid Chicago. Thank you, Governor Pritzker, for your words in support of Legal Aid Chicago and in recognizing the essential role legal aid plays to ensure a fair and accessible justice system for all. One of my favorite things to do every year, and one of the hardest, is being on the committee to select the recipient of the Jerold S. Solovy Equal Justice Award. This award was created in 2005 by Jenner and Block in honor of Jerry Solovy's 50th anniversary with the firm, and it honors an attorney at Legal Aid Chicago who's done outstanding work in ensuring equal justice for all through innovative advocacy or litigation, exceptional client service, or development and maintenance of critical community partners. During Jerry's illustrious 55-year career, he devoted an average of 20 hours per week to pro bono matters and helped to establish a culture at Jenner and Block of pro bono service and ongoing financial support of Legal Aid Chicago. We are grateful to Jenner and Block for their continued support. In selecting a winner each year, we first solicit nominations from the staff and receive recommendations which highlight the incredible dedication, creativity, and successes of our attorneys. I love being a part of selecting the recipients because I get to read the nominations that show the extraordinary work being done by our lawyers. It's yet another time I'm so proud of my colleagues and the work we do, and I often learn of achievements and partnerships that I wasn't aware of. It's always a tough decision. This year's winner will be introduced by Cynthia SADKIN, Legal Aid Chicago's Chief Strategy Officer and a past recipient of the Solovy Award.
It is my pleasure to present this year's Solovy Award to Kulsum Ameji. Kulsum joined Legal Aid Chicago in 2004 as a staff attorney in a new project focused on helping immigrant survivors of domestic violence. For the next 7 years, she not only enabled hundreds of women to begin new, safe lives, she developed strong partnerships with community organizations working with underserved immigrant populations, and she demonstrated the importance of those partnerships in stabilizing the lives of our clients. As a result, in 2011, Kulsum became our first dedicated community engagement attorney. Kulsum has deep knowledge of the neighborhoods and communities that comprise the Chicago area and has spent countless evenings and weekends attending local events as a trainer, a panelist speaker, an audience member, and a participant. Her expansive network of contacts and her credibility with community and organizational leaders has opened up opportunities for us to build partnerships and collaborations that weave legal aid into the landscape of social services and social justice initiatives in Chicago and Cook County. Kulsum played a key role in establishing our first medical legal partnership with Cook County Health, leading a series of workshops and focus groups on health disparities, environmental justice, and the social determinants of health. The inextricable link between gun violence and health brought into focus by this work fueled her interest in addressing community violence, including the impact of mass incarceration and structural racism in criminal justice, as well as the economic inequities that our clients constantly face. She created the Economic Justice Work Group, convening an interdisciplinary group of practitioners, advocates, policy experts, and others to participate in a series of innovative programs connecting our work to a wide range of stakeholders. Kulsum speaks eloquently about our work and about the injustices and inequities experienced by our clients and all people living in poverty. She challenges us to be creative, to think broadly, to be humble, and to be honest about the fact that the vast majority of our client community will not receive direct legal representation from us, and that information, knowledge, and self-advocacy tools are essential in the fight for equal justice. In recognition of her outstanding and far-reaching contributions to the mission of Legal Aid Chicago, I present the 2020 Solovy Award to Kulsum Ameji. Congratulations, Kulsum.
Thank you, Cynthia. I would also like to thank Jenner and Block for creating this award in Jerry Solovy's honor. I'm so grateful to be this year's recipient. Thank you all for joining our virtual gala and for your support of Legal Aid Chicago. I'd like to thank all of my colleagues who work so tirelessly against difficult odds and with limited resources. I'd also like to thank the many clients and community organizations with whom I've worked over the years. The wisdom they have imparted to me has been priceless. Finally, I'd like to thank my family, whose sacrifices, hardships, and resilience are the driving forces behind my work and my desire for a better world. We stand at a critical crossroads in this country and city, standing at the precipice of life and death, grappling with contestations of our basic democratic tenets, exponential poverty, and the unraveling of long-standing institutional inequities. The world as we knew it has been upended, and the pre-existing disparities of our society have been further entrenched by COVID. Sometimes these broken systems seem intractable, overwhelming, unbearably burdensome. How then do we build a brighter path forward? After 20 years of mission-based work, I share with you my own endless fervent belief in the possibility of hope as an antidote to despair. Legal aid is a tangible intervention, an opportunity to concretely offset the pernicious effects of systemic and racialized poverty. The work we do creates real change. Our homeownership work facilitates the passing of intergenerational wealth, thus reducing the racial wealth gap. Our bankruptcy work protects clients in neighborhoods disproportionately impacted by unjust ticket debt. Our housing mediation work introduces a new, creative, and practical approach to the national affordable housing crisis. And our medical legal partnerships help address the astonishing pre-COVID 30-year life expectancy gap in Chicago and the current situation as well. Ultimately, if there's one thing that I've learned from my work, it's that we are all connected. We are part of a network of mutuality. The grocery store clerk, the agricultural worker, the childcare provider, the working mother, all of us are connected by invisible, interdependent filaments. COVID has rendered these connections visible. Dr. King wrote, "In a real sense, all life is interrelated. All men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects us all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality." Every person in this virtual room plays a critical role in ensuring justice for all and addressing the disparities in our society. We will get through this pandemic together and build a better future together. Our shared destinies and lives depend on it. Thank you for this award, for being here, and for your continued support of our work.
Thanks for inviting me to speak with you today. I want to thank Legal Aid Chicago for its extraordinary work. In the midst of this pandemic and the economic crisis that has accompanied it, the need for your services to low-income families in Cook County has never been greater. Special acknowledgement, John Gallo, Executive Director of Legal Aid Chicago, and all your great staff. You are essential. I especially want to acknowledge tonight's honoree, our former Attorney General Lisa Madigan, who's been an exceptional champion for equal access to justice. It's been my honor to work with her during the period of time that she served in the General Assembly and as Attorney General. Last year, more than 16,000 people received civil legal services because of Legal Aid Chicago. When it comes to resolving family law matters, housing disputes, elder abuse cases, consumer protection matters, expungements and sealing, and more, Legal Aid Chicago is there for our neighbors in need. This is a team effort. Your board of directors, your outstanding staff, your volunteers, your community partners, your financial supporters all work together to make this operation run smoothly. The federal government has an important role to play too. You know, the Legal Services Corporation provides a significant portion of Legal Aid Chicago's funding. Since its creation in 1974, LSC has been the single largest funder of civil legal aid in the nation. It plays a pivotal role in our justice system. But for years, this administration, now in office, has tried to eliminate funding for LSC. Hard to believe. The most litigious president in our nation's history keeps trying to shut down a program that provides vital access to our court system for others. Well, the president gets to write up his budget, but it's Congress who writes the spending bills. And last year we took the zero for LSC in the president's budget and added several hundreds of millions of dollars to it. With the Biden administration and the possibility of a Democratic Senate, we hope for even better things next year. Congressional support for LSC is broad and bipartisan, and that's because of the good work that legal aid organizations do in every single state. Keep up the drumbeat. We need to make sure lawmakers hear about the good work you're doing. And make no mistake, the need for legal services is still great. The challenges we face in closing the justice gap are still daunting. I look forward to working with you to continue this fight. Thanks for all you do.
I'm thrilled to be here to support Legal Aid Chicago. What you are doing is so critical, especially right now in this moment of crisis in our community and around the world. Our communities are being hit hard by the pandemic, by the economic crisis, by the racial justice reckoning that is happening throughout our country. And your clients need help more than ever to address the needs that they have in their community, in their families. And so I'm so grateful for your leadership, for everything that you do. I'm delighted to be here tonight to support you, to be with you. You've been a big part of my own legal career in the past. And thank you for what you do for Chicago.
You know, today, if you're accused of a crime, you're guaranteed legal representation. But if you're unfairly evicted from your home, or you're the victim of consumer fraud or domestic violence, you're not. That's why it's more important than ever to support Legal Aid Chicago. Legal Aid works to ensure that the most vulnerable people in our community have a strong advocate in their corner. You know, if we truly believe in equal justice under the law, we have to make it real. That's why I thank you for joining my good friend, a great champion for justice, former Attorney General Lisa Madigan, in supporting Legal Aid Chicago.
Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry we can't be together in person, but I'm honored to join all of you in recognizing the important work done by Legal Aid Chicago and this year's Champion of Justice Award winner, Lisa Madigan. We all know this past has been incredibly challenging in so many ways, from Breonna Taylor to George Floyd and countless others, to the COVID pandemic hitting communities of color especially hard. It's just shown us how important it is to strive for equal justice. Every day, Legal Aid Chicago gives voice to some of our most vulnerable in Chicago and across Cook County. You all are the advocates for those who need it the most, and I'm so proud of the work that you do. Our former Attorney General, Lisa Madigan, is the true embodiment of this, someone who has worked tirelessly to help protect Illinoisans, and I want to pass along my very sincerest congratulations and best wishes to you, Lisa. So congrats again to Attorney General Madigan and to everyone involved in Legal Aid Chicago for all of your work this challenging year. Happy holidays, and let's hope for a better 2021. Stay safe and be well, everyone. Take care.
I want to take a minute now to talk about Tom Johnson and Leslie Jones, two lawyers who met at Legal Aid Chicago 40 plus years ago. They fell in love and they got married, and they had 3 boys. They dedicated their careers to doing legal aid and civil rights work. They became leaders in the public interest bar in Chicago, and they became my neighbors. In January of 1997, they moved across the street from me and my family in Oak Park. Their family became dear friends and an anchor in the Oak Park community. Tragically, on Easter weekend last April, their lives were taken from them.
Tom, he was a pleasure to work with. He always had a twinkle in his eye.
It did not matter who they had to help. They were always there to do just that.
They had phenomenal personality with a capital P.
Loving parents for their children, the 3 boys.
They were really the folks, kind of the glue in the community. Tom was just incredibly hardworking.
And he saw the humor in things.
They were a dynamic duo of talented, capable lawyers.
Exemplifies what legal services is and should be about.
They were both unfailingly kind to the high and the low.
Tom was this rare combination of brains and values.
One of Tom's favorite words was victory, and he saw a lot of victories.
That's what I will remember about the Johnstons. Willingness to fight for something is right whether it was a winning cause or not.
Leslie is just a super thoughtful, just incredible depth.
Her intensity and interest in you.
Meet my friend Tom Johnson. He's a great lawyer. He knows everybody. He's a lot of fun. You're going to love him. I got a phone call from a friend who had heard a rumor about Tom and Leslie.
It's hard to imagine that somebody could have turned on the both of them.
Why them? Why them?
Officers were called to the house around 7:30 last night. Once inside, they found 2 people dead. They're now calling the deaths suspicious.
Thomas Johnson and Leslie Ann Jones. The married couple was found dead inside their Oak Park home Monday night.
And nobody knew what had happened. Nobody knew how it happened. I could not imagine losing a friend under circumstances like that. For somebody to take his life, I just couldn't fathom it.
They were so generous to others. They did so much for other people in so many different ways.
I just did not want to accept that our friend was gone. Tom was the kind of person who would help everybody without asking for any finances, without seeking to be paid as a lawyer.
The things that they were involved in the community, Leslie being incredibly involved in the president of HEPZBA's board and the Arts Council, Tom being, a coach for lots and lots of teams.
The skill with which they achieved success in so many areas is just remarkable.
They were both exceedingly smart, and I think that's one thing that drew them together despite their different backgrounds.
Easy to talk to, easy to get to know, very willing to, be a support, be a friend, be a welcoming person.
We did a lot of off-hours things, going to nightclubs, going to the Cubs games, going to the racetrack now and then. And we had a ton of fun together, in addition to working hard. So it was a good period of time, and we got to be very close friends.
It's a tribute to Tom and Leslie how each of their 3 sons has, continued on.
She's always been very much on top of the cutting edge issues involving kids and families.
One of the specialties he developed with some other colleagues was around black lung benefits, the benefit program for coal miners who breathe in coal dust and get chronically ill and disabled.
Black lung cases cannot be settled. You either win them or you lose them. You've got to be very dedicated and creative in order to pursue those successfully. And Tom was especially good at that.
He also represented Barack Obama. He never bragged about it, never took a bow or anything like that. When he was representing Barack Obama, he never even mentioned it to me. I found out about that later because he was not that type of a person.
They were people who, they valued their clients as people and not just as a cause.
Tom was ahead of his time, a really good, really great lawyer, capable of highly complex litigation.
I cannot think of a better couple that personified the quest for justice.
They both come from this tradition where you are really working to help people, who need it.
They were not looking to cash in. They wanted public service.
The passion that they had when they saw things that were unjust.
They just didn't give up. So, just kept going at it.
Commitment to justice, access to justice, they are the personifications of it. I believe they stood just that tall for justice and fairness. It didn't really matter whether we were going to win or lose as long as we were fighting for something that was right.
And he had a magnetic personality that made him a natural leader. And he used that leadership for good stuff, always. This sense of being on an important mission and enjoying it and enjoying the company.
I wrote a series of poems about them just because it just had such a profound influence.
They didn't have grandiose thoughts about themselves, but when you look at their lives, they made a difference.
They're both so active, so vital.
Their empathy, the concern with other people, the willingness to go out of their way to help.
They live the way they wanted to live and were incredibly effective, a blessing to so many people.
Really people apart.
Maybe we can't be, quite as good as they were, but we can be inspired by their example.
They are the kind of people who have earned the right to spend an eternity with the Prince of Peace. I would say that's exactly where they are today, with the Prince of Peace.
We will not forget them. Nobody will forget them.
It's an honor and a pleasure for me now to announce the creation by Legal Aid Chicago of a summer externship in Leslie and Tom's name. This externship was put together as an idea of Tom and Leslie's own boys. And the purpose of the externship is as follows, and these are the words of their boys. Tom and Leslie spent their careers advocating on behalf of marginalized Chicagoans. They organized nonprofits, mentored teens and college students, and fought tirelessly in court to ensure access to justice and opportunity for all. Whether it was representing tenants against landlords, holding police accountable, representing candidates with integrity for political offices, or litigating on behalf of children affected by gun violence on the South and West Sides, Tom and Leslie always kept the lives of all Chicagoans central to their work. Truly, they embodied the mission that drives Legal Aid Chicago. To honor their work and their commitment to social justice, we, that is the boys in Legal Aid Chicago, are creating a paid summer internship for a teenager from Austin who has demonstrated the same passion that Tom and Leslie brought to their work in the city. We believe the legacy of Tom and Leslie will guide the work of these interns for years to come. So we are very excited about the creation of that award. It's my pleasure now to announce this year's winner of our annual Champion of Justice Award. The purpose of the award is to honor someone who has advanced the cause of equal access to justice. This year's honoree is Lisa Madigan. To present the award, we are honored to have both Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Lisa's partner at Kirkland and Ellis, John BALLIS. John's the chairman of that firm.
Thank you, John. Good evening, everybody. I'm John BALLIS, the chairman of Kirkland and Ellis. Tonight, I'm happy to join you to honor our partner, former Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan, for her outstanding contributions to civil legal aid. At Kirkland, our lawyers take great pride in supporting the people and organizations who make access to justice a reality. Each year, Kirkland dedicates over 100,000 hours to pro bono initiatives that serve our communities. We're proud to partner with organizations like Legal Aid Chicago to make a meaningful difference in so many areas, including civil rights, disability rights, immigration, health and patient rights, education, and veterans benefits. Lisa's work exemplifies the power of civil legal aid to change people's lives. As you know, Lisa has had quite an impressive public service career. She was the first woman to serve as Illinois Attorney General, and her 16-year tenure also made her the longest-serving female Attorney General in the United States. While these are significant milestones, what truly distinguished Lisa was her relentless advocacy for people who too often did not have a voice. Many of the same people Legal Aid Chicago represents. Lisa's many victories on behalf of the people of Illinois made her a national leader on consumer protection, safeguarding women and children, as well as police reform. She is also recognized as a strong advocate for sustainable funding of civil legal aid and the financial support she provided to legal aid organizations across the state of Illinois. Lisa's lifelong dedication to justice for all makes her a true champion of justice. I am very proud to have her as one of my partners and very proud to honor her this evening. Congratulations, Lisa.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and it is my absolute pleasure to join you today to present Illinois' former Attorney General and my friend, Lisa Madigan, with the Legal Aid Chicago's Champion of Justice Award. As a former board member of Chicago Legal Aid myself, I have followed Lisa's career closely and with a deep admiration for her commitment to providing legal aid to working residents across our city. As Attorney General in 2012, Lisa played an important role in the litigation that resulted in the national foreclosure settlement, leading Illinois to receive over $105 million, which she directed towards helping those impacted by foreclosure. She also dedicated $20 million to civil legal aid and $5 million to mediation services to assist impacted homeowners and renters. Funding which enabled Legal Aid Chicago and other legal aid agencies to help thousands of homeowners in Illinois avoid homelessness. A few years later, in 2015, Lisa was involved in a national consumer case and directed $7.2 million in settlement funds to be distributed to legal aid agencies in the state to help individuals. Thanks to her work there, Legal Aid Chicago was able to assist countless individuals, many of them seniors, who had become victims of consumer fraud. Lisa also played a large role in creating the Illinois Armed Forces Legal Aid Network, which has enabled thousands of service members, veterans, and their families to receive legal aid and to access the benefits they deserve. What you see in each of these issues is Lisa's passion, not just for public service, but for our shared commitment as legal professionals to use our skill and expertise to do right by our communities and help those most in need. This is a mission that has become even more important during this unprecedented year, and one I look forward to advancing further in the months and years ahead. Thank you. And Lisa, congratulations to you, and thanks again for all you've done to make life better in Illinois for all of us.
I am very honored to receive the Champion of Justice Award from Legal Aid Chicago. I want to recognize and thank the board, lawyers, and staff for the vital legal services that Legal Aid Chicago provides for people throughout Cook County. Your commitment is essential because for decades, too many people in our communities have contended with significant disparities in education, jobs, healthcare, housing, and security. And these differences result in fewer opportunities, precarious finances, homelessness, and shorter lives. Every day, Legal Aid Chicago responds by securing victories that eliminate inequality, poverty, and violence. Yet many people, lawyers included, do not realize that people need civil legal services to receive the protections and benefits that they are entitled to by the law. Those of us here often take access to justice for granted because the majority of us are highly educated lawyers and legal professionals. But remember, most people don't have a college degree. They don't know a lawyer, and they can't afford to hire one. Plus, for civil legal needs, you are not guaranteed a lawyer. So if you are about to be evicted, are denied benefits, are abused, or you're a homeless veteran, the idea that you can hire a lawyer to learn your rights and represent you is more of an aspiration than a reality. That is why Legal Aid Chicago and our support of their services are essential. They are the lawyers fighting for fairness, giving regular people a chance. Legal Aid Chicago's lawyers help families stay in their homes, receive public benefits, and escape domestic abusers. Your support of Legal Aid Chicago turns discrimination into opportunity, despair into hope, injustice into justice. While I served as Illinois Attorney General, people who needed legal assistance came to my office every day. I am proud that we helped hundreds of thousands of people a year, but we couldn't do it all, and we didn't do it alone. When we secured significant legal victories, I was pleased to provide financial assistance to Legal Aid Chicago to ensure thousands more people had access to highly qualified lawyers. Now, as we struggle through the crises brought on by the pandemic, the number of people who face serious legal issues and do so unrepresented has increased significantly. Many people do not have savings or a safety net. They have lost their jobs, are in fear of losing their housing, are unable to provide food, and pay for necessary medical expenses. In order to receive legal protections and benefits they need to survive, people need an advocate. They need Legal Aid Chicago's assistance. We need to support our friends and neighbors who are facing unprecedented economic and health challenges. I know that one of the best ways we can do that is to support Legal Aid Chicago. Then we will all be champions of justice. Thank you very much.
Congratulations again, Lisa. But don't go anywhere. We aren't through giving you stuff. Before tonight, we reached out to your husband, Pat Burns, the cartoonist. For those of you who don't know Pat, Pat is an extraordinarily talented cartoonist. He does cartoons for The New Yorker. And we asked Pat if he would mind creating a cartoon that we could then frame and give to Lisa in honor of tonight. We also have one of our colleagues, Larry Wood, who has collaborated in the past with Pat on cartoons. Larry's area of expertise is in writing captions for cartoons. So the two of them collaborated for this cartoon of Lisa getting the award with the caption reading, "I'm honored to receive this award from the best lawyers money can't buy." Congratulations, Lisa, on this additional gift from us and from your husband. Now there are some additional video tributes to Lisa.
Hi, my name is Andy Zopp. I'm President and CEO of World Business Chicago. I am thrilled to be here today to congratulate Lisa Madigan on receiving this year's Champion of Justice Award. I can't think of anybody better to be a recipient of this award and to be recognized for this honor. You have truly been a champion of justice throughout your career as Attorney General for the state of Illinois. You were a leader and a role model for women lawyers. You fought on behalf of consumers. You fought on behalf of criminal justice reform. You fought to make this state better and a better place for all of us. And we cannot thank you enough. It's a privilege to know you and all that you have done. And I'm so excited to be able to have a minute to simply say congratulations.
When Lisa Madigan was our Illinois Attorney General, she said her job was more than just defense work. Her job was to run the state's largest public interest law firm. State Attorney Generals, she continued, we are human rights lawyers every single day. So as Attorney General, she focused on a range of human rights issues, including housing, the environment, gender-based violence, police accountability, predatory and discriminatory lending practices. And in her post-Attorney General life, she continues to have that passion for justice, to bring voices to the voiceless, to the poor, to those who need legal champions. She is on the board of the Shriver Center and continues her many endeavors to help those in our community who are most in need. That is why it is so fitting that she is being honored by Legal Aid Chicago. Legal Aid Chicago, who continues to fight for justice for people living in poverty. And that is why it is a particular honor for me and pleasure for me to join all of you in congratulating her for such an honor she deserves for all she has done and all she continues to do. Congratulations, Lisa Madigan, our champion for justice.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Tice. I'm a justice of the Illinois Supreme Court, and I'm thrilled to be here tonight. Virtually, wish we would be together. Lisa Madigan has been an advocate for the public interest throughout her career. And the best example, of course, is the leadership role she took in the national litigation during the mortgage foreclosure crisis, and how she participated in a settlement and brought about a settlement that brought millions of dollars to relief for homeowners, for legal aid agencies like Legal Aid Chicago, and also for mediation centers. But the case I wanted to talk about is People versus BALLIS. People versus BALLIS is a criminal case, Fourth Amendment case. And in the Illinois Supreme Court, the argument of the Office of the Attorney General was rejected in a unanimous decision 7-0. When the United States Supreme Court granted cert, it was brave of the Attorney General to decide she would argue the case herself, a case that looked like a losing case. However, after the United States Supreme Court heard the persuasive arguments of Lisa Madigan, they in fact reversed the Illinois Supreme Court in a unanimous decision 9-0. Now that's a feather in any lawyer's cap, that's a highlight of a career, but this is what I think makes it special. When Lisa Madigan made that persuasive argument, our petite Attorney General was 8 months pregnant. Lisa Madigan has been an inspiration for women lawyers throughout her career. For that and for the leadership she has shown for advocating for the public interest, she is a true champion for justice.
Hi, I'm Tom Perez. I had the privilege of serving as Barack Obama's Secretary of Labor, as well as the head of the Civil Rights Division of the Justice Department. In that capacity, I worked really closely with Lisa Madigan. And I'm here to say thank you, Lisa, for your remarkable service. As the Attorney General of Illinois, you truly were the people's lawyer. Your North Star was, how do we make sure everybody who's living in the shadows has the opportunity to realize the American dream? Thank you for your partnership. You did so much. I've also had the privilege of knowing John Gallo for over 30 years. We were law school classmates, and we actually lived together for a year in a group apartment. John Gallo is a rock star. And I want to thank all of you at Legal Aid for the work you do. You know, the moral test of our strength as a nation is how we treat those in the dawn of life, our children, how we treat those in the twilight of life, the elderly, and how we treat those in the shadows of life. The work you do today and every day to ensure that people have access to justice across Illinois is absolutely indispensable, especially during these challenging times. So thank you for fighting for people who need someone to fight for them. Thank you for what you do to make sure that civil legal services are available to everyone. Your work is invaluable, and I say thank you. So congratulations, Lisa. Thank you, John, for your leadership, and thank you to everybody for the great work that you do, especially during these extraordinary times. Have a great night.
One of the best parts of our annual event is the chance to hear directly from our clients, their stories and how our work ensured justice and made a lasting impact. Today, we'll hear from 2 clients and their attorneys. Both of these women, single mothers, faced eviction when they had done nothing wrong. They paid their rent, they complied with their leases. They did not cause problems for their landlords or their neighbors. And yet, they and their children faced being put on the street, and very likely would have if it weren't for Legal Aid Chicago. Unfortunately, these women are not unique. It's easy to think that the only reason that people get evicted is because they're bad tenants, and that's just not true. These women are examples of situations our housing practice group sees with regularity. Tenants who followed the rules or are able to pay the rent that they owe, but are still issued eviction notices. Especially in low-income neighborhoods, our clients often have no choice but to rent from landlords who fail to make repairs or sexually harass their tenants or won't reasonably accommodate a tenant with a disability. Of course, there are problem tenants who are justifiably evicted, but those aren't the tenants that we represent. Our housing practice group, along with all of our other areas of practice, only accepts meritorious cases. We only agree to represent a client where that client has an achievable goal that's supported by the law. We do not just get involved because the client is poor and something bad is happening to them. We'll hear today from Ms. Lucas, who is a participant in the Housing Choice Voucher Program, which provides a subsidy to financially eligible tenants that enables them to rent on the private market and pay a reasonable portion of their monthly income towards their rent. Ms. Lucas paid her rent and was a great tenant, but when she wouldn't submit to her landlord's sexual advances, he filed an eviction against her. If he had succeeded, not only would Ms. Lucas and her children have lost their home, she also would have lost her housing subsidy, which is essential for keeping her and her family in housing she could afford. As you'll see in the video, Ms. Lucas sought help because of one legal issue. But after we got involved, we discovered another legal problem, which was intertwined with her other case. We often see this kind of situation, and one of our strengths is we're able to identify and resolve the myriad of legal problems that often keep our clients from achieving stability. This is something Legal Aid Chicago is uniquely positioned to do. We'll also hear from Ms. Watts, another tenant who faced an unwarranted eviction. Ms. Watts' landlord tried to evict her when her son's doctor prescribed him an emotional support animal for his disability. Like Ms. Lucas, Ms. Watts also participated in the Housing Choice Voucher program. And when Legal Aid Chicago prevented the eviction in court, the landlord tried to get the program to terminate Ms. Lucas's voucher. In an average year, nearly 40,000 evictions are filed in Cook County. And without representation, the vast majority of those tenants will be evicted, whether or not they have a legal defense. With representation by Legal Aid Chicago, tenants have over a 90% chance of remaining in their home. We're grateful to Ms. Lucas and Ms. Watts for sharing their stories. And now, let's hear from them directly.
When I received the notice about being evicted, I felt frightened, lost, afraid. I really didn't have anyone personal, no one in my family that I knew that was in a position to help me. I knew that I didn't do anything wrong. I knew that I was paying on time and everything.
Women of color disproportionately experience sex discrimination through racialized sexual harassment in housing.
So he would start texting me, asking did I want a drink or did I want food or things like that. Knocking on the door late at night saying that he wanted to come in and fix things. I'm like, no, you have to give me a notice.
I am a 37-year-old mother of 2 boys. My oldest is 19, my youngest is 12. I was facing eviction due to a puppy that I have for my youngest son who has ADHD and ODD. So I was prescribed an emotional support animal for my son. So I'm trying to try every avenue that I have. And my landlord went behind my back and got eviction proceedings that was in her favor and unbeknownst to myself.
Eviction, that word is a scary word. The fear of being put out with me and my children is something that's, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's something that I couldn't imagine.
I felt really disheartened.
I needed someone to help me figure things out, whether I was going to go to court or not, or try to work things out with the landlord. I reached out to the Chicago Police Department, and I made a report that way, and one of the officers referred me to Chicago Legal Aid.
I was able to contact Legal Aid.
My name is Jackie Coriath. I'm a supervisory attorney in the Housing Practice Group at Legal Aid Chicago, and we represented Leslie at the Illinois Human Rights Commission.
Hello, my name is Mallory Morgan. I'm a staff attorney with the Children and Families Practice Group at Legal Aid Chicago. Ms. Lucas came to our offices because she was being evicted from a housing case. And after having an intake interview with one of the housing attorneys, she was referred to my division to discuss potential legal action against her landlord who was stalking her.
Oh, when I tell you it was such a big relief, he had the hardest time.
They stepped in right away. They made me feel comfortable.
The appointment was set really fast. I think I got an appointment within the first week of my call.
Anyone that has ever met Leslie knows that she's not just a wonderful person, she's an incredible mother. When she's trying to protect her son and get him the accommodation he needs through the support animal, and her landlord responds not just by denying it, but in engaging in this retaliatory behavior, there's something about that situation that just explains how much legal aid is needed.
I would say the moment when I realized for this particular case that this was exactly what I wanted to do and why I love working here was I received a call from her saying that her landlord had filed a case against her, which was completely bogus, and for a lot of people, they wouldn't know what to do, how to proceed, how to defend themselves.
Legal aid has impacted my life as far as opening my eyes, helping me to understand that there is help along the way.
They also have been able to, teach me some things as far as, the do's and the don'ts dealing with, landlords and situations like that, and also apprise me to the fact that I have rights.
Because we were already in the case, we were able to jump in immediately and not allow like this unjust action to happen against her.
I felt peaceful. Things could go back to me being sane and calm and cool, not having to worry about, legal actions or anything like that.
They make you feel like you're paying them $500 an hour, and they walk you through the process, and it's just a really great feeling to know that someone cares, even though I don't have the money to pay for them to care. I actually don't make you feel like just a number or, well, I'm doing this out of charity. That's very, very important.
Without our support, not only would she not have the support animal, but she might have been evicted or she may have lost her voucher, and that's simply unacceptable.
Legal aid has impacted my life greatly. I don't have any type of negative remarks on my credit report.
We're really lucky at Legal Aid Chicago because we don't just have a housing practice group and all of the other groups at Legal Aid, but within our housing practice group, we have a fair housing group that really focuses on these issues.
Particularly for people who are in low income brackets or people who need legal services.
We do reasonable accommodation requests, we defend against discrimination and retaliation, and we bring affirmative suits like we did for Leslie.
Because of our training, because of our schooling, we kind of can be a voice of reason in both advocating for our clients and in helping them get through some of the most traumatizing experiences of their lives.
Legal aid is an entity that I believe needs to be multiplied a million times over.
When you donate to Legal Aid Chicago, you enable us to help people like Leslie, help people get accommodations, help people maintain their housing, help people with disabilities get the accommodations that they need. I think Leslie's case is a great example of just how high those barriers are and how challenging it can be to protect the rights that you're entitled to.
Once my time frees up, I'm going to do some volunteer work with them because, like I said, their impact is immeasurable.
We as an organization at Legal Aid Chicago began sheltering in place on March 15th. The pandemic and the subsequent events relating to racial justice have been hard. They've been hard on our staff, they've been hard on our clients. But these events have also provided us with an opportunity as an organization to reach a shared consensus on how we as an organization want to be as a group. How do we want to be known? What do we value at Legal Aid Chicago? If we agreed to put some values above all others, what would those values be? If people like you describe the Legal Aid Chicago way, what should that way be? So we embarked on a 4-month process. We hired a consultant who facilitated the process. We took surveys, we met in small groups, we met in large groups, we met on Zoom all the time. And we as an organization have collectively reached a consensus as a result of that process and how we will strive to be with each other, with our clients, with our funders, with our community partners, and in a courtroom. The product of this effort, the product of this collective effort, is the Legal Aid Chicago way, shown on your screen. It's something we can, should, and will return to every day as a guide for how we should be. This is not something just for our annual report or for our website or to show on a grant application. It's not that. Instead, it's something we as an organization will keep top of mind every day, from the day a colleague is onboarded, to our team meetings, to our external communications, to our evaluation process, and to our identification of our own work priorities. This way will be our touchstone for how we are. We intend to hold ourselves accountable to these shared values and behaviors, and we encourage you to hold us accountable to them as well. In particular, make sure our actions are equitable. Our work must be excellent. Our approaches need to be inclusive. When we interact with anyone, we should be kind. And in everything we do, we must be respectful. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for supporting us. And it's not too late to hit the donate button on our website and make a donation if you're so inclined. Regardless, we'll see you at the Palmer House in June.